Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. We start today's video with a story about one man, one hangover, and one absolutely unhinged woman who tried to get free coffee using lies, entitlement, and a dress that did not survive the encounter. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with a turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Hungover me witnessed Karen verbally abuse a fast food cashier. Longtime lurker, first-time poster. I don't work retail currently, but I have in the past. And most of my friends are in the service industry, thus I have little tolerance for over-entitled butt wipes giving guff to people who are just trying to get through their day and make a buck. This past Sunday morning, I found myself, regrettably, inside a fast food chain looking for some cheap, greasy crap to get me through a wicked hangover. Needless to say, I'm not in the best of sorts. However, I'm still able to eke out a smile for nice girl working the counter. She's super nice, gets my order down, jokes with me about liver abuse, shares a laugh. Like I said, cool as all hell. I'm waiting for my nasty, beautiful cheese and bacon croissant when a tempest of beatude storms in the door. Blonde, skinny, obviously wealthy, late 30s, and, to cap it off, is sporting a giant cross around her wretched little neck. In the back of my head, I knew crap was about to get real. B-face. Yeah, I need another iced coffee. This one's too sweet. Nice girl. I'm sorry, ma'am. These things happen. I'd be more than happy to help. Wait, is that from our store? B-face. No, I bought it at higher class fast food joint in other state. I live right near the border between two states. Just replace my coffee. Nice girl. Of course, ma'am. That'll be whatever coffee costs. B-face. I'm not paying for it. I told you to replace it. Nice girl. I'm sorry, ma'am. For one, it's not even from this chain. And two, even if it were, the franchise company which owns this chain in other state is different than the one here in this state. I simply cannot give you free coffee. It's practically stealing. However, I will give you the senior discount on a new coffee. Look at good customer service there, am I right? B-face slams the coffee cup down on the counter, spilling a little, proceeds to put her hand on her hips like a 13-year-old daddy's princess and stares at nice girl. Nice girl. Ma'am? B-face. I'm waiting for my coffee, you fat cow. Give it to me. Now. Is there something about that you don't understand? Maybe if you weren't a high school dropout, you would understand English better. I bet those racial slur for Hispanics back there can understand me better than you. Etc. and so forth. Nice girl appeared to be on the verge of tears. Now again, I'm hungover. Hell, I'm probably still a little drunk at this point. I must have been, as that would explain what happened next. I snapped. Me. Look, you effing C, if there's a problem with understanding here, it's effing yours. It's not the same company. It's not even the same GD mother effing state, you TAT. B-face. Don't use that language with me. Me. What language? Now get the F out of the store and leave the girl alone, you B-face. You need Jesus. Me. Your parents needed to have an abortion. Unfortunately, they were too stupid to get one because you're here. B-face. I'm so calling the police. Me. Great. You can tell them I did this. And here, dear readers, is where I made a somewhat poor life decision. Not one that I regret, but very well could have regretted. I picked up her iced coffee, ripped the lid off, and splashed her nice floral patterned Sunday church dress with the contents of the cup. Me. There. How do you like your coffee now? Leave. I grabbed my breakfast from the counter, walked out of the door calmly as a stunned nice girl and a wet-eyed B-face watched me, then ran like hell for my motor scooter and rode off before B-face could catch my license plate number. Is there any legal way to teach a direct lesson to a person like her? Who in her late 30s doesn't comprehend how retail shops work and how to respect people? What other lesson is there to give a middle-aged woman who abuses people just because she can, then abuse? I'm 100% behind OP. And our second story. They kept calling me instead of the real doctor until I called their ER. We owned a 24/7 business and I often worked overnights. I was also the emergency on-call person. On nights I didn't work, sleep was worth more than gold. I had, and still have, the most effed up sleep patterns and catch extra Z's whenever I can. I sleep very sound and deep. In fact, about the only thing that wakes me is my alarm and my phone ringing. This was a great skill to have when my kids were younger, as I often had to sleep when they were up and active. Cue my problem and temper. I'd get calls from a doctor's answering service asking for the doctor. When the calls first started, I would tell them I wasn't the doctor. More than once, I got a return call almost immediately from the same person who told me that this is the doctor's home number. No, it's not. It's my number. Okay, I'll page him. After the first couple months, I started telling the service to tell the people to take 730 aspirin and call back next year. Then they knew I wasn't the doctor, and we'd have the annoying, "You called the wrong number again" talk. Now the more they called, the more outrageous my cures got. After almost 3 years of this annoying crap, I got a true emergency call from them that the doctor had to call blank ER because one of his patients came in suffering a heart attack. He was taking meds and other issues, and they needed to confer with him about the appointment he had with the patient the day before. I hung up and called the ER myself. I got the doctor that needed to talk to the real doctor on the phone and told him I'm not the doctor and have had his answering service calling me about 3 years. I've told them numerous times, but they never fixed the problem. This is the first life-threatening emergency they called with, and I thought the best way to handle it was to call him and let him see if the hospital knew how to really get in contact with their colleague. I told him I understood this was a matter of life and death, and I would not take any more of his time. I ended by giving him my number so he could compare it to the correct number to possibly check where the problem occurred so it didn't happen again. All this took less than a minute as I started the conversation with, "Please just listen." The doctor I was getting calls for was a PCP, primary care physician, a family doctor, not a cardiologist or brain surgeon. The calls I was getting for him were things like, "Little Johnny has a fever of 100.1. What should we do? Can you refill my meds?" Things like that. I know I struck a nerve with the ER doctor because I never got another call from the doctor's answering service again. I hope the guy that had the heart attack is okay, and thank the doctor for getting my situation fixed. Wow, yeah, definitely not a good situation. Glad someone finally got it taken care of. 3 years was way too long. Also, probably a huge HIPAA violation. And our last story. Karen tried to evict my stepdad from her building. Turns out she was yelling at the owner. Many years ago, my stepdad, let's call him Joe, was working as a handyman and part-time gardener after retiring early due to health issues. He was one of those rare people who could fix anything and talk to anyone, and over time he developed some pretty incredible friendships, including one with Pam. Pam and her late husband had once been your stereotypical millionaire power couple, except without the arrogance or flash. They owned several businesses and a number of properties around town, but they were humble, hardworking, and fiercely independent. My stepdad started working for them, doing general maintenance, and even after Pam's husband died in a tragic plane crash, she kept Joe around to maintain her various properties. One of those properties was a collection of luxury apartments above some boutique shops in a very affluent part of the city. One afternoon, Pam asked Joe to help her clear the overgrown brush and rubbish behind the building. They had a lot to do, cutting back bushes, bagging up debris, prepping things to go into Pam's incinerator, and they wanted to finish before the sun went down. Now they were working quietly and efficiently, but apparently their presence triggered one particular upstairs tenant, a woman we'll now lovingly refer to as Karen. Karen had been peeking through her curtains for hours, watching Joe and Pam like she was guarding Fort Knox. Eventually, she exploded onto her balcony, arms flailing and mouth already mid-scream. "What the hell do you think you're doing down there?" she bellowed. "This is private property." Joe, ever the polite one, looked up calmly and said, "We're just clearing some brush and burning the waste. Nothing to worry about, ma'am." "You can't be here," Karen snapped. "I've never seen you before. You're clearly not from around here." Joe, who has darker skin and had often been mistaken for being Middle Eastern or Greek, looked up and replied, "Ma'am, I'm just doing my job. We're on private property, yes, but not yours." "Don't you dare light that fire," she shrieked, seeing the incinerator about to go. "You're just waiting until it's dark so you can break into my apartment. It's illegal to burn anything before dusk." "It's not illegal," Joe said, "and we're on private land." Karen scoffed and sneered. "Well, it's my land and I'm calling the police. And you," she jabbed a finger toward Joe, "you filthy foreigner, stay away from my building." Joe's hand froze mid-motion with a lighter. Pam, who'd been silent up until this point, finally had enough. She took a slow step forward, pulled off her gardening hat, and looked up at Karen with a voice as cold as steel. You want to call the police, she said, go right ahead. I'll be reporting you for harassment and making racial slurs toward my employee. Karen just laughed. You think they'll believe you? Look at you, scruffy, filthy, hanging around with riffraff. You're nothing but... Pam cut her off with one line that shut it all down. I own this building. Karen blinked. I own the apartment you're standing in. I own the shops below you. I own the fence you're leaning on, and that incinerator, that's mine too. Karen went silent, eyes wide, face pale. You've harassed my staff, made threats, screamed racist garbage out your window, and disrupted work on my land. Oh, and just so we're clear, it's your responsibility to maintain that shared garden space under your lease, and you've done jack all. Karen tried to protest, but Pam wasn't finished. You've got 3 months left on your lease, Pam said, slipping her earrings back on like a boss preparing for battle. I'll be sending notice tomorrow. Better start looking for a new place to shriek at people. Without another word, Karen scurried back inside, slammed her sliding door shut, and yanked the blinds down so fast they bent. Pam and Joe continued their work in peace, finishing under the warm orange glow of the incinerator fire. The next day, they returned to finish the job. Karen never peeked out again. But Pam did ask around. Turns out Karen was infamous among the other tenants, banging on floors, complaining about the shop noise downstairs, even screaming at her neighbors over TV volume. Pam honored her word. The lease wasn't renewed. Within a few months, Karen and her bad attitude were gone. Just a memory lingering like smoke from the last fire she'd ever see burning in that courtyard. Some people mistake loudness for power and ownership for entitlement. Pam and Joe proved that the real authority lies in knowing exactly what and who you control. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.